Okay, so we're getting it rocking. Okay, so guys, I'm gonna crack into a little intro material, and then Glenn, I'll toss you on in about just a couple minutes. Sound good?
Yeah, man. Do your
Sweet.
thing.
Okay, so yes, I did get a haircut. Glenn is he's about to join shortly. So, all right, okay, I'm gonna look away from the comment thing for a second to focus. So, welcome to the teleconference. Now, just like I was saying before, if there's any problems on this setup, please just dial back in. Is that correct? They just dial back in? Okay, so we're doing this from Glenn's, and Glenn lives in a beautiful but somewhat remote location. And so as a result of that, the connection can occasionally go out. Okay, so if there's any problems on this one, just hop back on. Consider it just to be predictable. Okay, so welcome to Glenn's conference, and I'm very, very excited for you to be on this. You've made a very, very good choice, in my personal opinion, to be on this. And the reason why is because Glenn is a guy who I've worked with now for over a year. And he's somebody who can go very, very deep into inner game concepts. So a major thing in success with women, but also in success with life, is learning to be present to the moment and staying in a positive frame of mind. Okay, a frame of mind that's light, easygoing, not taking things too seriously. So you can see in a lot of cases where, guys are trying to learn success with women, they go into what Glenn refers to in his jargon as low vibration energy. And he'll talk to you a lot about his terminology today. And so maybe you've seen people who, try to go and approach girls, it doesn't go well, and they start to freak out, or they start to feel like it's not going to work for them. Or a really common one is they start bashing themselves on things they can't control, or that are out of their control, or at least out of their immediate control, such as their appearance or their money. And it's not that these things are totally irrational, but it's that it weighs on them so heavily that it prevents them from doing anything that could help them, like going out and talking to people, or working on their personality, or working on things that are in their control. And so conversely, you might have had nights where you went out and you just crushed it, right? The entire venue was on your team. Everybody there wants to talk to you. You felt very light. You felt very free. And, your mind is just coming up with things to say spontaneously, right? So it's a lot of fun when you have a night like that. And for that reason, that was a major, major factor in my interest in working with Glenn, because he actually helped me to do that more consistently. So for example, before I worked with Glenn, a lot of time I was very, very dependent on getting a ton of social momentum when I go out. I just started approaching people. When I do that, I crush it. But it was a little bit harder, let's say, if I was sitting at a cafe and then I look over at a girl and it's my very first approach. Sometimes I'd be kind of stuck in my head and not feeling very social. And so because it was my first approach, I wouldn't do as well. That was kind of frustrating. I'm not saying that I've fully fixed that issue. I think that, success with women is an ongoing journey. Anybody who's like, oh, I'm like perfect or something, that's just silly. But it has been nice that I've met a lot of great girls in the daytime in the past year because I'm just in a generally better mood while working with Glenn. Now, Glenn's background is very deep. He's been doing this for a couple decades. He's a guy that works with private clients in Los Angeles. So I actually met him in Beverly Hills funny enough, at a cafe. I guess that was one of my good daytime approaches at a cafe. And I actually overheard him talking to some people nearby, and I was very captivated by the things that he was saying. And so I found it fascinating, and it was kind of along the same line as Eckhart Tolle. So if you ever read Eckhart Tolle, he has a book called The Power of Now. And the book, The Power of Now, it teaches you to be present to the moment and get out of your head. And, a lot of Eastern philosophy type concepts, right? And so Eckhart Tolle, I refer him usually as an intro to a lot of deeper Eastern philosophy stuff. And so I had always wished that I had a coach that could coach me on presence work. And I thought, how cool would that be? Kind of like a personal trainer in the gym, if you had a coach to coach you on being present. And I'm sure if you're listening to this, you're more than aware of how valuable that could be. Now, I think it truly depends on the individual, right? Because I've introduced a lot of my friends to Glenn, and some people, you kind of see a spectrum of how they respond to it. So we'll see what you get out of this, right? With Hot Seat, we want to throw a lot of different ideas at you, and some parts will be your favorite, and some will, not connect with you. So there's going to be people on this phone call, I think, who this will actually be their favorite part of the entire Hot Seat at Home. This will be the biggest thing. Like, you're going to be tripping. You're going to freak out when you see this. Like, it's going to be your favorite thing. And then for some of you guys, it'll be something where you're like, okay, I saw some value there. That was cool. And then there'll be some guys who are not able to connect with it at all. Usually those are guys more logical, or sometimes in some cases, if I'm just being, kind of shooting from the hip, I've seen that with guys who actually carry a lot of, what Glenn would refer to as low vibration energy. And so when he's talking about high vibration energy, they're just kind of like, no, it's like it's so impacted in there. They're like, fuck that shit, and they like freak out. So it's kind of funny. But really it's just more your personality type and what you connect with. So it's funny because I'm more on the logical side for a lot of things, but I'm open to ideas like energy work, mostly because I do public speaking and I do a lot of pickup. And because when I do public speaking, it can be so hit or miss, I'm really into presence or energy because when I'm in a great state, I'm in a high vibrational state, I fucking crush it, right? So you might have seen me do speeches where, bam, I just go in there and I fucking rock it. And I have nothing prepared. It's like being a rock star or something. It's like the best feeling in the world. Or you might have seen pickup videos of me where, I go in there on some stunning girl and I just crush it. And so a lot of that for me, to be honest, it's not technique-based. My understanding of pickup techniques, I've known that for years just because I've done it for so long. Obviously, I know that stuff. But the major variable for me is how present I am, how in the zone I am, or, what Glenn here would refer to as energy work. So even though I'm a very logical guy who normally wouldn't be remotely open-minded to that kind of thing, I became open-minded to it just through my own empirical, very logical testing. And I was like, why is it that some nights I do the exact same thing, but on the night when I feel kind of dense, heavy energy, I kind of suck. And then, when I feel light and kind of in this kind of creative flow, I rock it, right? And I would just see this divergence. And so my kind of like, nerdy scientific mind that didn't want to believe in these things became more open-minded to it, really just from seeing it from thousands of different nights, but also seeing it from thousands of different students that I work with. And so even if you look at Eckhart Tolle stuff, some people might say to me like, oh, why are you into like Eckhart stuff? Well, when I'm very present, which I've learned a lot from Eckhart and from Glenn, I can kind of put that present energy onto my boot camp students, and then they wind up crushing it. So I think at this point, you can kind of get a sense of how I got into this, okay? Now, Glenn is a guy, like I said, he has a huge, huge background in this. So it's about 20 years. And he's actually studied directly with Richard Bandler in neurolinguistic programming. He studied a lot of really esoteric spiritual work. And he also coaches clients, his private clients in Beverly Hills, every day throughout the day. So he's just a beast. And one thing that I'll make clear is like, everybody's kind of like, has their different types of experiences. So like Glenn's main experience is a lot of high level elite coaching, right? That's his main thing. My main thing is making videos or, doing, pickup boot camps or things like that, right? So it's kind of like, everybody kind of has their areas that they specialize in. So he's really specialized with coaching. Okay. That's kind of his thing, and coaching with people who feel like they could get something out of this area. I actually put Julian in with him. Okay. Basically, someone is asking, it's just an intro for Glenn, by the way, just to allow a few more people to come on, but also to provide some great context if you're enjoying this. I actually sent Julian to work with him after everything that Julian experienced last year. And even Max, who, if you saw that video that he created from a summit from Vegas last year, was going through severe burnout. I put both of them in with Glenn, and he was able to make huge, huge headway with both of them. So if you've been enjoying Julian's new channel, or even seeing Max just crushing it, even in spite of the crazy workload that he had, I can attribute a lot of that really good result that we've had to work that Glenn has done with them. And even the mother of my kids, who actually was having some health problems, and I believe that a lot of that came from stress, I sent her in with Glenn, and he was actually able to help turn that around as well. So I've seen it, also some friends of mine. So I've seen it definitely, like some people, they get, Sam, for example, also loves it. So some people get huge value. It's like, they come back from it, and I mean, they say it's the best thing they ever did. Like I had a boot camp client, for example, who went through a breakup in Houston a few months ago. And I just kept hammering at him to work with Glenn, and I felt weird, because he's on my boot camp. I don't want to pump him on this Glenn thing, but at the same time, I just knew how much value he'd get. So I kept pushing him. I'm like, dude, the main thing you're going to get out of this boot camp is to work with Glenn. and he decided to start working with Glenn. And I've been hearing some really, really great feedback from him on it. And so basically, some people they say it's the best thing they ever did. Other people are like, okay, it was cool. And then other people can't connect with it, right? So hopefully you're at least someone who thinks it's cool. And very hopefully you're somebody who this is just a home run, okay? And just maybe like the last thing I would kind of, how long's the webinar? Glenn, how long do you want to run they're asking how long do you want to run the webinar?
An hour.
Yeah, maybe like an hour or so, we'll have to see. But yeah, basically, yeah, so basically, there's some funny questions on here. So basically, they're asking what's the old, what's the old Mac in the background? Yes, we'll see if we have a ghetto blaster in here too, maybe. So basically, we'll kind of see what you get out of it. And what else would I add to it? Oh, last thing I was going to say was we're working very hard on the Hot Seat at Home program. So I hope that you've been enjoying the missions. And this is actually my first time creating missions like this ever. So it's really a lot of fun. And a lot of people ask for infield to be added in the mission. So we've been actually cutting some infield to show how I do the missions, and we're censoring it. So I think I mentioned this in the other videos, that censoring, a lot of people think there's this like magical censor button where you just, you have the, the girl's face on the video, and then you just press censor button, and then it just censors it, like all this different stuff. It's not like that. You have to, you keyframe it. So you go like this, you go, do, censor, do, censor, do, censor, like that. You do it from frame by frame, like you animate it in. You have to do it with multiple girls, or if there's students in the shots, there's multiple students. So it takes a little bit of time, but I offer to do that in the missions as an added value. Okay, so that's some I think will have added value. But to tell you the truth, I actually kind of like the missions without it, because it forces you to interpret it yourself and go out and do it. But nonetheless, a lot of people ask me for it, so I'm happy to add it in. And I'm hoping to actually add it into all the missions, but I don't want to commit to that, but I'm probably going to go back and re-upload them with that added in. But I'll see how much time we have and the resources we have to do it. But we'll definitely do it for at least some of them. And I've been kind of customizing the missions based on the feedback that I'm seeing and kind of trying to layer it for you. So what we've been doing here is we've been trying to get you to the point where you have a really powerful base level skill set. And we've been kind of tackling like the how to talk and really making you a master of talking and sexuality in this. So I think it'll be good. This week we actually have the advanced principles video coming out. I think it's about 90 minutes. And it's actually going to be including some good infield in it. And I want everybody on this call, I want you to take that next video along with the mission that we'll also be putting out this week. And I want you to really step it up to the next level, because this next video coming out is a very, very powerful video. It's really lays it out in a clear way, unlike probably anything you've ever seen. So just get ready, enjoy it. And also this week, as another week, a cool thing to just focus on, because this is our group, this is our tribe, is Inner Game. Okay, so this will be a great segment to add this week on Inner Game, having Glenn, the man himself, come and teach you personally. So I think this is going to be a great privilege. You're really, really going to enjoy this. And like I said, if for any reason this cuts out, just jump back on. Okay, it'll just take, how long does it take when it cuts out usually to jump back on?
2 minutes.
Somewhere from 2 to 5 minutes if we have any technical difficulties. We're hoping that it's working. But yeah, so this will be a very, very fun segment. And for at least some of you on this call, this will be the best thing that you're going to do this entire Hot Seat at Home. So, because what you're going to find here is so much value in so many areas of life. Okay, so I'm going to throw on Glenn. Enjoy. Glenn, I'm going to toss you on here.
Great.
And I'll see y'all soon.
Thank you. All right, cheers for Owen. They're applauding across the land. Yeah.
I'll swap it up.
Hold on a second, you guys. Got to do one thing here.
Sweet.
Okay, let's get started. Well, so much to talk about. So let's talk about. Let's start right at the beginning. Energy. If I have a title? I'm known as a man who teaches energy awareness training, energy mastery, and transformational coaching. Can you hand me that the water and the drink over there? Thanks. And we're coming from my offices here in Beverly Hills. This is the side of it, though. I'm on the other side of the office usually. And so what does this mean? Well, People come to see me for about one of three reasons. Here, I work with an exclusive clientele here in the Beverly Hills, West Hollywood area. Right, I'm about 4 blocks from the Sunset Strip here, so it's a really cool area here in Los Angeles. And I work with a very exclusive, high-end clientele. And in order to find me, you have to be referred to me or be introduced to me. So you won't find me on social media. You won't find me on websites or anything, because I work with very high caliber, high quality, high profile people who really value their discretion, their discreetness. Not everybody tells all their secrets like Owen. He's a unique unto himself, as you guys know. But it's been a real pleasure to be able to work with him. So what I do is people come to me for one of three reasons. Number one, I'm an expert at making change with people. And so if I get a call from a studio and one of they're on a film shoot and one of the stars won't come out of their trailer for some reason, maybe they're drunk or maybe they're upset or for whatever reason, I get the call to work with them. Somebody has stage fright or for some reason they're shut down, they're emotionally upside down. I work and can make immediate changes with people like that. The second reason people call me is for or refer to me, I should say, is for specific outcomes like stage fright, or you wouldn't believe that maybe they're having a fight with their girlfriend or something and they just can't function, whatever. They're shut down and they need to open up. So I work with people like that, but mainly what I specialize in, that was my, hey Owen, the phone went down. This is great. What I specialize in is doing energy transformational coaching and teaching energy awareness training. And this is what you guys are going to be hearing about tonight. And that's what I think could really make a big difference in your life as it's been made for Owen. So what is this thing called energy? Well, now I'm going to give you a little bit of background about where I've come from, because I was in the community for a while and been in personal development, as Owen said, over 20 years. And I wanted to make some changes in my life. Like many of you, I'd grown up and had certain challenges and things that I had to deal with that weren't so pleasant, and stuff that I had to overcome, stuff that people call baggage, things that I wanted to get away from. And as a result of that, I left home and decided to make my way like many of you guys do, and choose to be successful and go through all the motions to be able to do that. Unfortunately, we have a vision of who we want to be, and a lot of times we notice that there's things that are in the way of being able to do that. And that was the quest that got me into being able to do this work, because I wanted to change my life. I was here and I wanted to be over here. And I would do things that most guys want to do, become wealthy, get a great girl, be successful in career, be able to attain the life that we want to attain. And a lot of times we'll take 2 or 3 steps forward and then 2 or 3 steps back. So I became a student of personal development and got a lot of books. I have a huge library, and I would do courses and I would do seminars and all these things to try to achieve a great life. And I would make progress, but I never got the progress that I wanted. I never was able to attain the level of success or the level of inner peace that I was attaining. So it was always about the next book. It was always about the next seminar, the next thing to learn, that maybe that thing would fix me. Maybe that thing would be the thing that would take me where I wanted to go. So I have a long history, as Owen mentioned, from doing NLP to personal development platform speaking, to studying quantum science, to working with energy masters, to studying spiritual and esoteric texts, Vedanta, Kabbalah, Buddhism, etc. I've gone the whole circle of personal development. And what I want to talk to you tonight about is to go being beyond personal development. Think about that for a second. Beyond personal development. Because most of you guys, are on here, that's why you're here, to develop yourself, to go to the next level. And so many of you, and so many of the people who inquire about my work and come to see me as clients, to say, I've tried this, I tried that, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this, and I'm still not fulfilled. I'm still looking for the thing or whatever it can be that can take me to the life of my dreams, to who I know that I can be. And I was there too. And almost 20 years ago, I started learning. I had an energy master while I was studying Kabbalah and learning quantum physics, who started teaching me about energy. And as I grew, I started learning about energy medicine. And then I would I would be learning all these different counterparts that on themselves were incomplete, but put together created something new that had never been discovered before. And this is what I call energy awareness training. So what I was able to do, how did I find it? Well, you could say it was downloaded to me. It was discovered. It just came together. And as I started working through these disciplines of healing myself energetically and learning about the different energetic codes that there are and levels that there are, all of a sudden this technology all came together. And what I was able to do is I was able to find that thing that could heal me, could transform me, could take me to the life and the potential that I always knew I was capable of doing. And once I was able to do that and measure the results and see, no two ways about it, I was here and now I'm here. And that this process kept going, then I was able to start helping other people too. And as I started helping other people, on a part-time basis before, they started getting tremendous results. And then word spread in the entertainment communities and the sports communities. And I had some people come to see me who got tremendous results and have told other people about this, or at least their own circle of friends. And this has grown to where I have a very busy and successful practice here in town. And as I mentioned before, I don't advertise. You can only find me through referral or through a friend, because I purposely keep a low profile, because those of you who understand celebrity and understand high profile people, there is a group of people who need the people that they work with to be private and to have discretion. So as Owen came to start seeing me and started getting tremendous results, and then he brought everybody he cared about over to come see me, and I was able to accommodate him, and it's been a great relationship. And what's cool about that is that Owen can study with anybody in the world, and he has studied with some of the greatest personal development teachers in the world. And what he would tell you is, as good as those teachers were, there was something lacking that made him keep going, keep looking, keep searching. And what I want to share with you guys to know is that what we're talking about tonight is beyond personal development, beyond another book, another seminar, another affirmation. What we're talking about is being able to see the invisible. And this is what I want to share with you guys tonight. So let's move into this realm. You heard a little bit about me. Let's talk about the technology here and what this means to you. Why should you care? And what does this mean? Well, when I talk about this and try to describe what I do, I make a quote. And the first quote that I talk to people about is I say, that which you can see, you can control. That which you can't see controls you. So I use a metaphor of the iceberg. You've seen the iceberg. 10% of it is above the water. That's what you can see. 90% of it is below the water and that you can't see. And what sank the Titanic wasn't the 10% that you could see. What sank it was the 90% that you couldn't see. And in our lives, when we're talking about energy, most of us, when we're dealing with life, we're dealing with situations, we look at the physical part about it. So in understanding what I mean by energy, everything is energy. Everything at its fundamental counterpart is energy. And why this technology is so important and so powerful is because it looks at the 90% below the surface. It looks at that invisible part that really controls what it is that you see. So first off, let's understand that everything that you do in life is an energetic exchange. Relationships, you're getting along with the girl. Things are going great between you. She's happy. She's affectionate. Great. Underneath that happiness is an energy that's going between you and her, and that's flowing, that's working out good. It's what I call a high vibrational energy. When you're not getting along with your girl, when you see things, when you see her in behaviors that you don't like, there's still an energetic exchange, but that energy is now blocked. Okay, so everything is an energy exchange. Why? Because we live in an energetic world. Your 7th grade teacher taught you that everything's energy. You know, our bodies are energy. You know, the computer's energy, the tables are all molecules in motion. And in this world that we live in, no one ever told us that when we're dealing with situations, whether it's women, money, career, health, no matter what it is, below the surface of what we see is the energetic components. So just like the iceberg that I talked about, what we see is 10%. So when you're dealing with a situation and you're only dealing with 10%, you get a limited outcome. But when you learn how to deal with the 90%, when you learn how to deal with what it is that you can't see, that's when real change comes. And that's what I've created in energy awareness technology. And that's what I'm working with Owen. So the third thing that people come to see me about is to learn energetic awareness and to be able to transform themselves. Because remember, I said I teach energetic awareness and transformational coaching. And transformational coaching simply works like this. You're here and you want to be here. And you've tried everything you can to get over here. But as you started to move it up, something keeps moving you back. And you start to move up and things start moving you back. And what is this thing? You know, it's change. And as you guys know, change isn't easy. In fact, sometimes it's really hard. And if it was easy to change, you know, we'd all have changed already. If you look at January 1st, everybody makes New Year's resolutions. We want to change. This is the year I'm going to, lose weight, stop smoking, get up earlier, be more productive, learn French, whatever it is. And you make the promise to yourself that you're going to do this. And you actually start taking action. You know, if it's getting in shape, it's going to the gym. And then what happens? A couple of weeks, you're doing great. And then the third week, it's getting tougher. And it's getting tougher. And it's getting tougher. And then what? A month into it, it goes by the wayside. Now, what is that force? What is that force that can turn us from wanting to make changes and stop us cold? I ask myself that, you know, because obviously we have the intention to change. We want to be able to make progress. And yet something changes. And we certainly didn't choose it, right? We didn't choose to, you know, to sabotage our efforts or to stop our goals. What is this? So what we're talking about is an invisible world of energy. We're talking about the things that we can't see. And the things that you can't see control you. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little rundown about how that works in the field. What I've been able to do in this work is to identify the hidden forces that affect us. And believe me, there are hidden forces that affect us. especially when we want to know why. Why didn't that? Why did that relationship that seemed to be so good and she seemed to be so happy? Why is it over? Why did she cheat? Why is it that my job was going so good and then it changed, or got laid off, or got fired, or why was something going good and then it shifted? These are the questions that we have, and a lot of people just think, well, that's life. That's just the way it is. But as you're going to find tonight, it's a lot deeper than that. So let's delve into this a little bit, shall we? So as I've identified that we live in an energetic world, especially on planet Earth, there are some important laws that I've noticed that take place. And that is, on this planet, on a planet Earth, if everything's energy, my body, the table, the computer, etc., that means that there are molecules in motion. That means energy is in motion. And one of the most important lessons for you guys to get tonight that I briefly mentioned is that everything that is seen comes from the unseen. Everything that is visible comes from invisible. So, this computer that we're having, your computer you're watching me on, once upon a time, that didn't exist. It came into existence as a thought of somebody said, hey, let's create something. Let's make this thing happen. And boom, from an invisible idea comes a physical thing. Hey, how about you and me? Once upon a time, we didn't exist, at least physically. And mom and dad went out on a date on Saturday night and we're having a good time. And boom, 9 months later, we showed up. The light just fell down off this. Okay. So if you guys, a little technical difficulty here. Good. So we showed up. So what I want you guys first off to learn is to see a deeper world, is to have a deeper understanding of this thing that we called life. And understanding that what you see isn't the energy itself, it's the result of the energy. So you see man and woman getting along, they're happy. You can see they're kissing and they're hand and holding, they seem to be getting along. Now, what you're seeing is the physical result of an invisible energy, of an energy that's what I call high vibration, that's moving in a high vibratory way. And if it was just the opposite, they're not getting along, that would be moving in a low vibratory way. So let me give you a couple of terms that we work on here. So first lesson, everything that's seen comes from unseen. That includes attitudes, that includes beliefs, that includes the things that we create in the physical world. We create money. Your paycheck, that the money that you hold in your hands, okay? You created that your energy created that. Now that might sound simplistic, but really that's the formula for being able to kind of have an X-ray vision of life and how things work. So when you can identify energy, you can identify in the iceberg the 90%, because it's the energetic components that run everything. No matter what it is, there's an energetic component to it. And energetic components have laws. And if you can, number one, recognize the energy, and two, understand the laws, you can see into the 90%. You can see things that most people can't. And if you can see and operate this energy, then you can make changes. And that's the most important thing that we're going to talk about tonight, is the ability to change. The ability to change, to transform, to move up. And what does it look like? It looks like making more money. It looks like getting the girl you want. It looks like feeling good about yourself. It looks like feeling empowered and moving into another level in another direction of who you want to be. That is the result of that. Did you want to say something?
I can add to it.
Go for it.
Yeah. All right. So, hi. So one of the things actually that kind of got me to buy into a lot of what Glenn was teaching was that a lot of time I would sort of explain to him different situations that I was going through, and he was very consistently able to predict what the outcomes of those situations were going to be. So a lot of times as you're learning energetic laws, one of the cool things about it is that you can predict people's behavior. And the way that I think about it is a little bit like a kind of a funny example. Here, I'll lean down a little bit here. Just to lock in.
Sure.
Yeah, this is good. So, okay, here's how I think of it. There's been periods where I've really cut heavy on sugars, as an example. And if you've ever heard anything about that, I think what they say is when you eat too much sugar, you get candida, they say. And some people, I don't even know if this is true or not, but this is just what I've read. Some people will say that candida, it actually resides in your body, and it can actually hijack your brain, and it makes you crave the the stuff that will increase more candida in your body, right? So you could imagine it's almost like yeah, sure. I'll hop in here for a sec. So Glenn's going to make a few adjustments while he has the chance while I'm here. So basically, a lot of time, like in my house, for example, the only thing that'll be in there is a bunch of, grass-fed beef and a shitload of vegetables and maybe some berries. And I'll have a guest come over for a couple of days. And it's funny because they get unwittingly put on this type of diet. It's kind of funny to watch what happens. So usually after about a day and a half, they'll start ruffling through the cupboards and looking in the fridge. There's tons of great food in there, tons of it. But it's not food that contains sugar. And they're not aware that they're addicted on sugar. So they'll start saying things like, do you have anything, and they don't know what they want, like, because they're not even sure what they're looking for. Do you have anything sweet? Do you have anything sweet? I need something sweet. And the reason why is because the candida in their body, this is just according to what I read, and whether it's exactly accurate or not, I just think it's a cool analogy related to what Glenn is teaching. Their body's actually craving something that will feed the candida. So when Glenn describes high vibration or low vibration energy, it's just a way of thinking that, are you addicted to present, calm energy? And if that's how your body is kind of wired at this point, or are you addicted to cortisol, adrenaline, and these kind of dopamine spikes? Okay. And so, I've even seen this with girls who I've dated, where they actually depend on the man to give them drama. And, Julian actually used to tap into this in a lot of his old videos, where they get hooked on it. And you can see it because if you won't give them any drama, they'll push you and push you and push you until you'll give them that little kick of low vibration energy. They're literally hooked on it. They're not ready to have peace. And that was actually a big, big reason why Glenn stuff appealed to me, is actually rewiring yourself so that you want peace. Rewiring yourself so that you do enjoy the wins that you have in life. Gratitude, as opposed to feeling, like you are missing something. So you can even imagine, like, let's even break that down in a simple way. You can see why this is very valuable, in the sense that it's valuable because you could get everything you want in life, but if you don't have this sort of stuff down, whether on your own or through getting coached on it like I chose to, you're not going to enjoy your life that much. So let's say that you're living in a beachfront apartment, you've got a hot girlfriend, you're having sex every day, you've got a successful professional life, you're healthy, you're surfing every day, everything is going great, right? But let's say that in your body you're addicted to cortisol, adrenaline, dopamine spikes, and all that kind of stuff. Well, then what'll happen is you'll keep thinking, well, what else is there? What else is there? And you'll start to feel crazy, like, well, why is my life not good even though I have everything I want? Now, if you've seen the program, The Blueprint Decoded, I talked about that because I had that experience where my whole life I didn't have the material things I wanted, or the sex life that I wanted, or the lifestyle that I wanted. And then I always would say to myself, well, someday when I get it, then I'll be happy. That's why I'm so unhappy, is I don't have those things. But when I finally got those things to a decent degree, I felt as unhappy as ever. In fact, I felt more unhappy because before you could tell yourself, well, when I finally get this, then I'll be happy. So there's hope. But then you get it all, there's no hope, right? So you see a lot of guys who actually become rich, or, good with girls, or they have a happy life. They start getting into this kind of topic because their whole entire life they thought, well, when I finally get what I want, then I'll be happy. And then you get it and you're still unhappy. And the reason why, it's really not that complicated. It's simply that you're hooked in your body on adrenaline or cortisol or these kind of emotional spikes. You're actually hooked on it. Your body's hooked on it the same way that you might be hooked on sugar. It's just really what you're habituated to or what you're used to. So a lot of what Glenn does is he actually shows you the underlying things that are going on that cause you to be hooked on those things, or looking at the initial traumas that kind of traumatize you and then almost feeds off of that energy. And even what I've learned, and this has been kind of tricky, is like, let's say that, for example, you have a girlfriend who craves drama. Well, if you give her drama, yeah, she may like that in the moment, but eventually, you're exposed to some other guy who can give her even more drama. So I've even seen this like a lot with girls where, they'll say things like, I just want to be loved. I just want peace. And you're like, I can do that. I'll love you and give you peace, while we have a great sex life and have fun. And then you start doing that and, you never ever get mad and you're at peace. And then they actually get progressively more and more angry. And they get progressively more and more mad trying to feed low vibration energy from you until eventually you snap, not hit them to clarify, but you just, you snap and, maybe you yell at them or something. And then they're like, or you say that you're going to break up. And then what happens is that you trigger an abandonment trauma or getting yelled at trauma. And then they get even more hooked on you because you triggered that and you showed that you can be a source of that energy. But the challenge is, even though the girl might be hot, it's not sustainable. You literally can't sustain that, because what happens if you get that girl pregnant, right? If she's your girlfriend, at some point you might stop using a condom. What if you accidentally get her pregnant, or you further that relationship and you get her pregnant? Now you've got a girl that feeds off that energy that could be raising your kids. So what Glenn teaches is a lot of things like how to become acclimated to being at peace, and then attracting a girl who's also at peace. They're much more rare, but it's been amazing how even with myself, as I have been going through this work, I've been attracting definitely a much less dramatic quality of girl. I don't know if I've gone, all the way to meeting my enlightened female match as of yet, but I've definitely, because I'm even not perfect yet myself. But the point is that, and we'll never be perfect, right? But, I'm still a work in progress myself. And so it's kind of been interesting just to see, the difference in women that I've been able to attract, and also even the difference in women who I resonate with, to the point where, sometimes I'll be dating girls that are, funny enough, being single again in the past year and a half, I'm dating the prettiest girls I've ever dated. Some of these girls are hot enough that you don't physically have a strong desire to sleep with anybody else because they're so hot. But I meet other girls that might be, instead of a 10, maybe the girl's, an 8 or an 8.5 or something, and she might not be like as blisteringly hot, but she is just more positive and at peace. And I find myself feeling more attracted to those women that I could actually have a longer term potential with. I feel myself less inclined to need to go out and, bang tons of girls, because I'm kind of at peace with where I'm at. And yet I still love the process of game more than ever. And I'm still getting laid a lot right now because I am, single, and I am, looking eventually for my next girlfriend. But the point is like, it's not that same compulsiveness. It's really for me, like a lot of just about joy and that kind of high vibration energy. So that's sort of, why we want to share that with you. And I'm going to just look at the questions here before I jump off. Let's see here. That describes my last relation. I'll be, once I get this, I'll be happy. Well, so that's kind of the thing, right? Or why, another question is, why does the chase feel better than the catch? And that's the thing. That's your low vibration energy. You're craving, and then you get it. You have what you want, but you're not able to be at peace. And so in my case, look, I'm sitting here, I'm 36 years old, right? At a certain point, I've got to look at it, and I can tell you, even just from experience, right? So you've got like some, you've got me here acting in a mentor role for you in this particular area, or you have Glenn acting as a mentor in this particular area. What I would represent is a guy that went out, got the girls, got the big house, got the big business, got the cool peer group, got the travel, got the cool restaurants, the cool clothes. And I'm looking at my life and I'm going, why am I still not as happy as I could be? Why am I not still as happy? So I can show you how to get those things. Glenn is almost taking it to another level. And Glenn's not telling you, by the way, to not get those things. Any teacher who ever tells you not to go get laid, not to go make tons of money, to have tons of cool experience, fuck that teacher, okay? Fuck that teacher, because you should, okay? You know what's cool? Realize money doesn't matter when you have a lot of money. Don't be like, live in a cardboard box on the street, like, money doesn't matter. Don't get laid for 15 years and be like, oh, I don't care about sex. Nobody's telling you to do that. Nobody. Rather, what we're telling you is that these things are cool, enjoy them, but at the same time, if you want to really enjoy them, realize that it's going to actually require you to be at peace. It's going to require you to have appreciation. gratitude. Some of the major elements of high vibrational, being in high vibration is a feeling of gratitude, a feeling of love, a feeling of peace, a feeling of being happy where you are, rather than not being able to enjoy things. And then you're just like, well, you got all this stuff and you can't even fucking enjoy it. But going even deeper than that, and here's where it gets even crazier, some guys really believe that you have to be in low vibration to be motivated, right? Like, I need to be, and I'm just going to check the questions here. Yeah, it's like, I'll wrap this one point and then I'll toss you on. So a lot, because that's pretty much all I had to say. So a lot of people feel like, well, if I'm not craving the next win, how can I be motivated? I need to crave the next win. I need to be inherently unsatisfied. And let's be honest, that can work. That paradigm can work. But the challenge with that paradigm, what I've consistently seen, and Glenn talks a lot about this, is that it's almost like a credit card where, yes, you get a short-term win. That's why you see some people that are kind of stuck in like heavy ego and low vibration. They will get wins because it drives them to the next thing. But the challenge is it's not a sustained success. It's almost like getting a girlfriend who loves drama and you keep poking on her and fucking with her, and she gets more and more attracted as you kick her out of the house and you're pimping her, and she gets more attracted, but eventually the relationship implodes. Or some kind of financial success where you're like, yeah, I'm going to beat everybody, I'm going to win, and it implodes. So what attracts me to this work is the sustained success with women or sustained financial success. And then add to that when you're in high vibration, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. When you're in high vibration, you attract more high vibration people and you attract more high vibration situations into your life. And so he'll talk about that a lot as well. So it's not that we're, talking down on crushing it. Fucking crush it. Crush it, man. Like, I'm on that shit. Like, you don't even understand. Every fucking day, crushing it. But at the same time, it's also about enjoying it and realizing that when you're in that, what he will call high vibrational state, you're actually able to work even less because you're attracting it, right? So say, for example, some guy is like, he's like, I'm going to crush it. I'm going to crush it, right? And that guy's maybe sitting out in a restaurant like just trying to get down his food. He's going to go crush it. He's going to go crush it. And somebody's sitting right beside him who could help his life in a million ways. But he's in a low vibrational state. So that person there doesn't even want anything to do with him, right? Meanwhile, maybe he was like, still crushing it every day, but also being in high vibration. And then he meets that guy right there, and that guy changes his whole fucking life and makes it so that his work is 1,000 times more efficient. So it's not as clear as what a lot of people think. And so what I've always believed in is a combination of very, very hard work every day, but then and winning, but at the same time coming from a position where you can have an appreciation for that, a gratitude for that, and not just paddling all the time, but actually getting in what Glenn calls the high vibrational jet stream and letting the wind kind of blow the sail. So I thought I kind of just, add in on that. Maybe you could give some thoughts on that too. We'll kind of go back and forth here.
Thank you. I always love to hear Tyler's response to the work. So let's get some terms available because I want to give you guys some really good value here. And Tyler was talking about a lot of different terminology. So let's just start at the beginning. In the basic classes when people go, okay, teach me about energetic awareness. What I tell them is that first of all, we live in an energetic world. So what I want you to do is to start seeing things from an energetic perspective. And know that whatever the interaction is, whether it's work, whether it's play, whether it's game, whatever it is, that there's an energetic exchange taking place. And that's the 90%. The 10% is what you call it. The 90% is the energy that's taken place. Now, let me expand on that. What do I mean by that? In this world, there are certain energetic laws that I've recognized and that are factual. And to know these energetic laws is essential if you want to live a happy, pain-free, joyful life. Not to know these energetic laws is to keep falling in traps of self-sabotage, shooting yourself in the foot, making the mistake after mistake after mistake. So let's delve into a few of these things. In this world, since everything's energy, as as your 7th grade teacher taught you, we live in the world of duality. That's an important word. I hope some of you guys are taking notes because there are a few key concepts that will change your life tonight. One of them is understanding that we live in a world of duality on this planet Earth. So what does that mean? That means that there's for everything there's an opposite. So if there's a male, there's a female. If there's good, there's bad. If there's right, there's wrong. If there's up, there's down. If there's east, there's west. So understanding that in the world of duality that we live in, that everything's energy and that energy is constantly in motion, there's always going to be shifts taking place. Okay? Energy is moving, shifts taking place. Remember I said earlier, what is seen comes from the unseen. What is physical is an energetic counterpart. Remember the iceberg. What we see, 10%. What we don't see, 90%. Now, Tyler was talking about high vibration, low vibration. Let me clarify that. You may have heard them on his videos. This is what I teach. Since everything is energy and we live in the world of duality, then consequently, energy itself must have a duality to it, right? And on this earth, it's true. So what I identify this energy as is high vibration and low vibration. So let me make it more simple. There's energies and forces that you can't see in this world. One force wants to build you up. One force wants to inspire you. One force wants you to attain your full potential. But there's another force that wants to sabotage you. There's another force that wants to stop you from achieving your goals. There's another force that when it inflicts you, it brings you down. So what I identify these forces as being is high vibrational and low vibrational. So let me give you some examples. High vibrational energy is an energy that's moving, that if it was on the radio dial would be up on the top part of the dial. Now, this is an energy that's open, that it's free, it's expanding, that it's light, that it's unlimited, that it's strong, that when you're in it, you're in your truth, that you're happy, joyous, and free. There's creativity, there's abundance, there's blessings, there's happiness, joy, and freedom. Okay, there's a lot of other definitions that you can call this, but we'll go with that for now. And this is the energy that we all want. This is the energy that we were born into. You know, you see little babies, they're all happy, and even little kids playing around, always joyful. We're born into this energy, but as we get older, we start to connect to the other energy. And the other energy is what I call the low vibration energy. And that energy is dark, it's stuck, it's hard, it's moving in, it's constricted. It has feelings of guilt, of shame, of neediness, of lack, of obsession and compulsive, energies of addiction, energies of craziness, of disruption. And I identify those emotions as fear, anxiety, worry, etc. And you guys all know that energy. You know both of these energies, and you come into contact with them. Now, these energies are at loose in this planet, and energy being invisible, you can't see them. But it's essential for your education, for you to grow, if you want to achieve, if you want to be happy, if you want to have a great relationship, if you want to have a great career, if you want to have health, to be able to identify these energies, because these energies influence you. Now, the high vibrational energy, we don't have to think about it too much. And because when we're in it, it feels good. And we're doing, being, and having what we want to be when we're in this energy. The problem in life that we all have, wherever you are, is that when you get put into low vibration energy, when you get feelings of fear, worry, doubt, stuck, negativity. Now, it's important to know how these energies work. Remember I talked to you about what we don't see affects us? Well, this is the good energy, but this is the one that we got to watch out for, the low vibration energy, because this energy has a mission. What I've observed in studying energetics is this energy has a mission. And by the way, this low vibration energy is at loose on this planet. You can see it, and it works globally and it works personally. So do you ever wonder? A new war crops up. What happened yesterday? Terrorist attacks, bombings, people killed, low vibration energy. I mean, the stuff just, it seems to, quote, pop out of nowhere, but not really, because we see this energy at work. If you ever want to know what did low vibration energy do today, just click on the 5 o'clock news or the 11 o'clock news. You'll see it. Now, what's important for you to know, you say, well, how does that energy affect me? It affects you globally, but it affects you personally, because this is an energy that comes looking for you every day. And it comes looking for you in your thoughts, in your feelings, in your emotions. Looking for you, what do you mean? Simply this. Do you ever have you're going along and you're feeling great or feeling normal, and all of a sudden you get this negative thought attack? Oh, what if this happens? What if this happens? Oh my God, this or this. And all of a sudden you're in this really dark, stuck place. That is being affected by low vibration energy. And I go through this meticulously in the courses, but just let me give you the headlines, because I don't have the time to go through all the research and the science about it. I just ask you to use your observation. The times when you're feeling depressed, the times when you've got negative thoughts, the times when you want to approach and there's some force stopping you that your feet weigh 200 pounds. This is how these energies affect us. Now, you have to be able to recognize how they work, because these energies are in people, places, things, activities, jobs. They appear in parts of the day, and they even appear in parts of your body. So we don't have to really watch out for the low vibration energy. That's what we want. That's who we want to be: happy, joyous, free, abundant, in love, all those things. And yet the question is, why is it that we end up over in the low vibration energy so much? And that's because if you're energetically unaware, this energy can get at you and you don't know it. Go back to the Titanic example. The Titanic looked at the 10% of what it saw and made judgments upon that. It didn't understand what the energy or the forces that it couldn't see. And remember, what you don't see affects you and can sabotage you. So in this world that we live in, we go through life, and one of the things that I teach in energetic awareness is that we live largely in a world of illusion. That is, sometimes things are what they seem to be. Sometimes they're not what they seem to be. And we've all had experience of that. Now, wouldn't it be great if you could identify something, make a decision about relationship, career, health, or thing, and know that you're right 99 out of 100 times? Well, you learn that skill when you do energy awareness training, because you're able to recognize these energies. See, this low vibration energy, I'm talking about this a little bit because this is where we have our challenges. This energy comes looking for us every day. We don't have to go to it. We don't have to search for low vibration energy, fear, anxiety, worry, stress, negative thoughts, etc. It comes to us. It shows up in our heads. It shows up in our emotions. It shows up in our feelings. You ever sometimes you wake up in the morning, and you're awake for 10 seconds, and all of a sudden the low vibration, oh, it's Monday, oh my God, I gotta work, and it's like, whoa, I'm in a low vibration energy state. And that state, if you're not aware of it, is the culprit that sabotages our lives. It shows up in our thoughts, in our feelings, and our emotions, and it has a purpose. If you're writing this down, write this down. The purpose of low vibration energy is to keep us from high vibrational energy. Why? Excuse me. because high vibration energy is complete power over the low. So the low vibration energy wants to keep you out of feeling good, wants to keep you out of happiness, wants to keep you out of joy, and wants to keep you focused on what's wrong, what's not working, what's wrong with you, why is your life the way it is. Ask questions. Excuse me a second. Oh, that's pretty. Good. Sorry about that. It wants to take you in the places that don't feel good. Why? Because that's its job. Its job is to keep you out of high vibration and to cause chaos and disruption in your life. You ever have chaos and disruption in your life? Sometimes, things are going great, and all of a sudden, man, all this drama and all this chaos and all this disruption comes up. Where does it come from? Out of the clear blue sky? No, there's an energy that affects us all and that shows up as chaos and disruption. And this energy, its purpose wants to take us down. Wants to take us down and wants to take us out. So if you observe how the energy works when people are feeling anxious, depressed, or heavy or stuck or obsessed, and any of this low vibration energy, the important energetic laws for you to learn, especially on this call, it will help you, is understanding that low vibration energy can only attract more low vibration energy, right? Not good, low vibration. High vibration energy can only attract more high vibrational energy. So part of the work here is to dissolve and recognize and release your low vibrational energy so you can start moving up in high vibrational energy, being and doing all the things that you want to do in life. Okay? Pretty straightforward there. Now, the thing is, this energy, this low vibration energy, shows up in disguise. It doesn't come right up to us and say, hey, I'm low vibration energy. Can I cause you some pain and misery and anxiety today? It comes disguised as girls, as businesses, as people, places, and things. How many of you guys have ever made a decision about a girl or about a business or well, let's just take girls, for example, and on the surface, it looked good. She looked good. She looked like she was a good girl. She looked like she was going to make you happy. She seemed to want everything you wanted. And you got lured into it. And then it was only after you were in lock, stock, and barrel that it changed. And it was exactly the opposite of what you wanted. And you're all of a sudden, you're in this thing that this heaven has become hell, and it's tough getting out of there. I know we've all gone through that. So when you look back at that, you think, wow, if only I had known, if only I had seen the signs. When you're at the end of it, you can see the signs. You can't see the signs in the beginning if you're not energetically aware, because this low vibration energy comes to us in disguise. That's why we make so many mistakes, or misjudgments. If we had only known, live and learn about a business deal, it comes to us in disguise. Well, how do you know the disguise? By being energetically aware, by being able to recognize and understand and see the energetic components of people, places, and things, and to understand and to recognize that if it's low vibration energy, it's going to attract more low vibration energy, and you want to stay away from it. If it's high vibration energy, that's what we all want. But the low vibration energy comes in disguise. So let me give you an example. Remember this concept, you guys. Low vibration energy attracts low vibration energy, but it comes to us in disguise a lot of the times, and we can't see it unless we're energetically aware. How do you become energetically aware? Well, you write down all the aspects of what I taught you a few minutes ago. High vibration energy, low vibration energy. Dark, stuck, constricted, secretive, stressful, fear, anxiety, worry, etc. Okay, so let me give you an example of that. I had a client that came to me, and he was making a fortune in I think he was selling commodities or some kind of financial thing. And he said to me, I want to get your advice. See, a lot of people ask me for advice, and I don't give advice, but I always talk about energetic laws. And I said, what's up? And he says, well, I'm working at this place, and I'm making a ton of money. I said, that's great. What's the problem? He goes, well, according to the chart, what I've learned about low vibration energy, which is dark, stuck, secretive, stressful, anxious, worrisome, just kind of like kind of out of sorts, or so to speak. That kind of describes my boss, the guys who are running the company. And I want to know what I should do about it. And I said, well, I don't give advice, but energetic laws never lie. So if you're in a low vibration energy situation, whether it's relationship, job, any kind of situation, ultimately that's going to create more low vibration energy. So if the source of your company you think is low vibration energy, then understand the energetic laws. So he thought about it for a minute, and he goes, okay. And then the next week he came back for our sessions, and he said, you know, I decided to observe the energetic laws, and I quit my job. And I said, well, that's your decision. I didn't make that decision for you. You did. But energetic laws never fail. So a month went by, nothing happened. And he said, yeah, people are still at the company making money and doing their thing. I said, okay, energetic laws never lie. Second month, we were working on some other stuff. He comes to a session, and he says, hey, you know what? I don't know. They're still working there. And I said, energetic laws never lie. Third month, now this guy's he's like, man, I don't know. Maybe this energetic stuff isn't working out, and nothing seems to have changed. I said, don't worry. Energetic laws never lie. 3 months and 2 weeks later, the brokerage he was working for was raided by the feds, and everybody's assets were confiscated, bank accounts frozen, and everybody who had anything to do with the company up until the last 90 days had their assets frozen and had to deal with the courts. He made it out by 2 weeks. Oh, the next time he came to his appointment, energetic laws work. The point being is that when you learn to see the energy of things, of everything energetic, you can see things, you can know things that the average person doesn't know or doesn't see, that can save you from a lot of pain and sorrow. It's the same thing with girls. We've all had the experiences where we meet, a beautiful, super hot girl that wow, it should be great girlfriend material. But if we don't see what's going on with her energetically, we're only looking at the 10%. And so many of us have made the mistake where we get involved with someone because of the 10% or the physicality without understanding the energy. And it's the energy of something that reveals its true nature. So one of the things that I overcame, in my personal transformation was the ability to not go out with beautiful but damaged girls that would be great in the beginning and then eventually drive me crazy, as I'm sure many of you have. And I had to learn to be able to see the energy around that. Eventually, see, the low vibration energy is enticing you, wants to entice you. That's how we make our mistakes. Entices you with girls, or entices you in a quick money deal, or entices you to, eat that junk food that is bad for you, but it tastes good. So if it can lure you in, it's got you. And then it does its thing, which is to block you from high vibrational energy, to cause chaos and disruption in your life, and to ultimately take you down or make you feel bad. So awareness, the awareness and the consciousness of living in an energetic world is so important, because all of us have an energy field, okay? And all of us are electric and energetic beings. And we're sending and receiving signals. So you guys heard of the law of attraction, Yeah, there's a law of attraction, but you can only attract at the level that you're vibrating at. So most of us, as Owen said a little bit while ago, most of us through our lives are carrying a lot of baggage. We've had stuff happen to us that wasn't pretty. A lot of us had been through upsets, and all of us have been traumatized. And I mention that because that's an energy. When no matter what it is, even if it's something that's small, like getting lost when you're 2 years old, or being embarrassed at school, or having the girl you have a crush on reject you, all the way to sexual abuse or assault, or all the things can happen to us. That's an energy. And that energy never goes away. It stays within us unless we know how to release it. And this is the core of the work that's the transforming part. Because when people come to see me and they've got, for whatever problem they have, like the psychologist who came to see me last week, psychologist came to see me. Now, when we normally have problems or challenges, what do we normally do? We go see a counselor, see a psychologist, and what do? We talk about it. And we talk and we talk and we talk. And we know all about it, but it's still there. Or we go see a psychiatrist and they talk and talk and they give you drugs. So you're medicating whatever is bothering you. But it never goes away. And that's the problem with personal development. When we're holding down this low vibration energy, see, we've got 3 forms of low vibration energy. We've got our daily stress, we've got our operational stress, and we've got our historical stress. And that historical stress, or what I call trauma, is the stuff inside us that keeps pulling at us. This is the self-sabotage mechanisms that keep us from being who we want to be and doing what we want to do. And I certainly had it. And I went to walked on fire or chanted with monks, or went out on Indian track. I mean, I did everything to try to move this stuff, to try to overcome it. Put it this way, to overcome it. But the power of energy awareness training is realized you can't overcome energy that's embedded inside you in the 10% level. Remember the iceberg? So the 10% level is the next book you read. It's the next seminar you take. It's the next positive affirmation that you say. That stuff's all good for the 10%. But I have a saying that I mention to people who are trying to make change, and that includes a lot of people that I work with who have problems with addictions and trying to overcome alcohol or drugs or sex addiction or food or any of the gambling or any of the myriad of things that hook people in. Now, those things, as I mentioned, aren't the problem. It's not the drinking that's the problem. It's not the gambling or the food or the sex addictions. Those are the symptoms of the low vibration energy that we carry inside us. And if you don't recognize it as energy, as low vibration energy, and you don't understand the essence of how the energy works, you'll just go looking for solutions in the 10%, which is what we normally do. The power of energetic awareness training, what I do with people, is I recognize whatever that low vibration energy is that's keeping you stuck, that you've been dealing with for years, that you've been carrying it around and it's still affecting you. And instead of just talking about it, I recognize and we get it out. So being able to recognize low vibration energy, being able to release it and process it. What I do is energetic processing, so that you can learn how to deal with the stuff that you go through every day. So So as an example, remember I said everything we have, everything that's physical also has a non-physical counterpart. So we have a physical body here, and we also have what we call an energetic body. I'm going around my gut here. So where it comes, where you feel it right in your gut, in your belly button. Those of you who know Eckhart Tolle, he calls it the pain body. And just like we have to maintain and take care of our physical body, we have to take care and maintain our energetic body. Now, if you don't know you have an energetic body, gee, you're going to be stressed out. You're not going to even know about it. So understand this. We have 50,000 thoughts a day. And according to the latest experts, roughly 50% of those thoughts are low vibration energy thoughts. So every time we have a thought, it's like an electrical charge. So if I go, oh, did I lock the front door? Or, oh, is there anything to eat tonight? Or did I go to the bank and make the deposit? Just every time I have a thought that there's a little bit of an electrical, twinge to it, I'm creating low vibration energy inside me. It's called stress. That's the byword for low vibration energy. Anytime you're stressed about anything, you're in a low vibration energy vibe. And that means, we'll look at it. So if I'm stressed about money, what does that mean? That means that there's a blockage with that money coming in, okay? Or if I got a problem at work, if I'm not getting along with my boss, if I'm stressed in a stressful situation, that means energy's not flowing. There's something out energetically. I'm not getting along with my girl or health challenges. So when you learn how to see energetically, you can start moving into the 90% of being able to do something about it. Most people are just in the 10% trying to do something with the symptoms, just like what I mentioned with addiction. People are trying to, don't drink. Okay, I got a drinking problem. I don't drink, but you're not drinking for the drink. You're drinking because you got some pain inside you. You've got some low vibration energy, stress, worry, fear, anxiety, maybe some memories that you're trying to hold down. Same thing with drugs or whatever the addiction is. It's not the addiction. The addiction is a symptom of the energy. So all of us in our past have had to deal with low vibration energy. And the work that we do here in energetic awareness training, and that I do here with my clients here in my offices, is identify the low vibration energy that you're carrying around and show you how to deal with the different aspects of it so you can let it go. And then as you let it go, you can move into a higher vibrational energy field. And the whole goal of energetic awareness training is to be able to reach emotional and energetic freedom. If you guys are writing that down, write that down. Emotional and energetic freedom. What is that? That's the ability to be happy, joyous, and free inside you, unlimited, reaching your full potential and completely content regardless of anything else that's not dependent upon her opinion of you or work or politics or the weather, everything. In other words, to be emotionally and energetically self-sufficient. Now, energetic freedom is when you're there, life gets really, really good. And then you start moving into your unlimited self. But energetic freedom isn't free. It takes dedication and it takes commitments, like, getting in shape. If you're out of shape, it takes commitment to do that. Energetic freedom and the ability to do energetic awareness training is the commitment to heal yourself, to move from being reactive to what you've gone through in your past, to moving that stuff out so that you can move from victim into your full potential self. That's our goal in this training. And that's why Owen, who can pretty much work with anybody he wants to in the world, does energetic awareness training and comes to see me 2-3 times a week, so that we can move more stuff out, more of the stuff that you don't want, the feelings, the emotions, the patterns, and then move more into what it is that you do want, who you want to be, which is a high vibrational energy frequency. So I hope that gives you a little idea. I mean, there's so much to this to talk about. It has applications in virtually everything you can think of. The ability to understand energy is crucial in the financial markets, in business, in making deals, in hiring people, and in knowing who to associate with. Energetic awareness is crucial in game, especially if you want to move to higher levels of relationship. You learn some great methods on how to get great girls, and in the different pickup situations. But what's beyond that? How about being able to keep the girl? How about able to be happy? How about being able to be aware of what it takes energetically to be in a happy, long-term, stable relationship? That's crucial to know. And believe me when I tell you, your ability to have a successful relationship is 99% on understanding the energetic realms of it. Okay, I'm just going to give you another example about that. Okay, the point I've been making during this teleconference is there's the visible, the 10%, and then there's the non-visible, which is the energetic portions, which is the 90%. So I was contacted by a fellow I know. I was a year or two ago, and he was married 12 years, had 2 or 3 kids, and came to me and he said, "Glenn, I want your help. I want you to work with me energetically because I'm getting a divorce." I said, "Really? Gee." And I said, "You're married 12 years? I thought you guys were really happy." And he says, "Well, we were, but I said, "Why are you getting a divorce?" He goes, "I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore." Okay. I said, "Have you been to counseling? Have you been to marriage counseling?" "Yeah, I went to marriage counseling, and it was just, we got in the marriage counselor became the referee of he said, she said, and, we tried it. We didn't get anywhere. We realized, it's over." I said, "So I'd like you to work with me to get my anger out so that we can divorce in peace." I said, "Okay." Talked to the wife, and I said, "Gee, I hear you guys are getting a divorce. That's too bad." I said, "Thought you guys were happy. What happened?" What did she say? She says, "I can't put up with him anymore. I've had it. We're done. I'm done." Okay. We've heard that one before, huh, guys? I said, "Okay." So I tell you what, I'd be willing to work I told them I'd be willing to work with them individually for a certain amount of sessions, and then together to let go of that energy. Now, here's the secret. The marriage counselors and these guys thought the problem was can't take it anymore, whatever their issues were. He said, she said, but I'm looking at it energetically. I'm seeing what most people aren't seeing, that it's not the visible problem, whatever they're complaining about. He leaves the cap off the toothpaste, or she's never satisfied, whatever. I know it's the low vibration energy that's sabotaging this relationship. Because what does low vibration energy do? It causes chaos and disruption. So when I identified the energy to this, I started working with them individually. And then I work with them, on the relationship. And what I did essentially was just clean and clear that negative energy. Cleaned it and cleared it and got them to the point where their energy body, which was filled with low vibration energy. And what did I teach you tonight, you guys? Low vibration energy can only attract more what? Low vibration energy. So both their energy bodies were filled with low vibration energy. And consequently, what were they doing? Going down in a divorce. So I cleaned that energy out and put them in the place where they were when they first met. And then I stepped back and let the energy do its work. I changed that energy from low vibration, which is chaos and disruptive, to high vibration energy, peace, happiness, joy. And I stepped back and I just said, okay, you guys are good. Do what you need to do and call me. Let me know what happened. They called me back a month later. They fell in love with each other again, and they're still married today. And one marriage got saved thanks to energy awareness training. Probably more than that since. But understand what happened, you guys. This is the key to understand this work. When other people saw circumstances, they saw he said, she said, I saw energy. And I know that if you move the energy, things happen. Because my motto is nothing changes until energy moves. You got a problem? I don't care what it is. Money, relationships, health, etc. Nothing will change until you move the energy. And that's what we teach you how to do in energy awareness training. There's a lot of ways to move energy. We want to move them the most effective way that it can be moved. So what's really cool is, this is my favorite topic. I love talking about this. I could tell you great sports stories or entertainment stories. I probably will if you ever come to my office and we work together. But what's cool is, working with Owen. He said to me, I'd love to be able to share this work and this knowledge with the RSD Nation. And as you can pretty well know, I'm not inexpensive to come see. In fact, most people can't afford to see me personally. But, Owen said, well, how can we do this? And he said, how about would you be willing to come speak? Because that was the first thing he did. I don't make too many appearances outside my offices here, but he said, would you be willing to come speak at the Summit Series in Las Vegas and in Miami? I said, sure. I came and spoke, and the energy and the message was just gobbled up. Great response. So would you be willing to maybe offer some kind of way for the average person to be able to come and learn about the work that you do, with your high powered clients? I said, okay. So we talked about it and kicked it around, and I told him that I'd be willing to do a teleconference. I'd be willing to share the secrets and the methodologies of energy awareness training that I teach my top VIP clients to the RSD Nation. So he asked me to do this webinar to kind of give you guys just a sense of the kind of work that we're doing. And this work, I hope I'm giving you a little bit of a sense. I'll answer a few questions here in a minute. But what I wanted to convey to you tonight is that if you've tried every personal development thing you can think of, and you're still dealing with, your baggage, you're still dealing with these voices, you're still dealing with negativity, there's a way. There's a way up, and then there's a way out. And I was there and going through everything you guys have been through to wanting to change my life, wanting to get from here to here. And when I finally got here and beyond, I realized that this was the missing technology that could help people be who they wanted to be, do what they wanted to do, and have what they wanted to have. So there's a lot of interest in this work. I'm happy to say I may be doing a European tour later on this summer. We're finalizing that, and probably going to be doing some media appearances to do this. But while I'm still here, Owen has asked me to offer you guys who want to get in on the kind of training that he's getting and want to really take a forward quantum leap in your life energetically, to come and participate with us and have some fun and move your life forward. So Mikhail, why don't you come over here? I have Mikhail is our Chief Technology Officer. Here's Chief Marketing guy. Come on over, say hi to everybody.
What's up? How you doing? That's Amped on Life.
Going a few minutes long, but hope you guys are getting some good content here. Just going to put up the page for the offer that we have.
I'll make sure they can see the button. Can you guys see a button on the right? It says Glenn Coaching.
Button on the right. This is Glenn Coaching.
Sales pitch alert. Yep, truth.
Cool.
Cool. So just make sure they can see that. If they can't see that, I'll come back and set that up.
Great. Cool. So what I would recommend if this resonated with you, because game is important. It's not the only thing, but it's certainly an important thing. Game and being able to be what I call the man you want to be. So not just being able to have game, but to be able to make the kind of money you want to make, have the kind of lifestyle you want to have, and most importantly, feel good about you, feel good about your life, having made peace and letting go of that stuff that you've been carrying around for a long time. That stuff can go if you know how. And this is the only technology, it's the only place I've ever seen that can actually free you from that. And let me give you another example about this too. I do a lot of work with soldiers returning from the war. And as you can imagine, if you've ever heard of post-traumatic stress syndrome, well, the soldiers come back from the war, they leave the war, they come back from the war, but they come back to the country and the war is still on in their head. And a lot of that they brought with it is serious low vibration energy that's been embedded inside them. And our servicemen have been, they protected us, and I feel I owe them a debt of gratitude. So I work with them in the same principles. And the reality is all of us have something like that, not as intense as the soldiers do, but we all have stuff that's following us around from our past, stuff that we're trying to shake, things that we're trying to try to deal with, and it's affecting our lives because it's energy. So let me just give you guys one more important piece that I teach, so you're aware of this. All of us here on this call have to deal with stress. I mentioned this before. We all got to deal with stress. Now, no one has ever taught us how to deal with stress. You would think that would be as important as algebra or even more important, but no one has ever taught us. So we got to figure that out for ourselves. So there's about 4 or 5 ways of dealing with stress, and most of them cause more stress. So remember, understanding that all energy expands. So that's why when soldiers come back from the war, the energy doesn't get less, it expands. Or when we've had an upsetting situation, we hope, it'll go away, but it doesn't. It expands and it affects us either at the conscious or the subconscious level. I haven't talked much about subconscious tonight, but that's a big factor. That's where we put all of our low vibration energy, because in dealing with stress, we either run from it, try to avoid it. Well, how does that work? It's like me trying to run from this shirt, trying to get away from it. But everywhere I go, it follows me and it expands. So that doesn't work. Number 2, we don't like our stress, whether it's our daily, operational, or historical stress. So we medicate ourselves. 6-pack of beer, drugs, gambling, food, sex, whatever hit that you're getting, to try to medicate those feelings. Well, whatever that hit that you're getting is, it's only temporary, and then eventually it goes away. Now you still got your pain, and you've still got the new addiction. So that doesn't help. Number 3, what are we taught to do as guys? We're taught to be tough guys, right? We're taught, what does Clint Eastwood do? No matter how much mayhem you see, you just stuff it down, man. Be a tough guy like this. Well, you know what? Human beings weren't meant to stuff trauma and pain. We don't do that well. The illusion is that the tough guys do that, but you know what? They do it in public, and in private, they cry their eyes out at the stuff that they've seen. If those of you who've seen American Sniper, that's a pretty good portrayal. You know, that guy is about as tough as they come. And the stuff that he saw, we weren't meant to deal with that. So when that happens to us, we become disaligned with our energy. We become disaligned with who we are, and it messes us up. You know, you've heard about the guys who are the altar boys who are molested by priests and ministers. You know, those guys are 40, 50 years old now. And from something that happened once or twice or, 10 times or something when they were 12, that energy, because it's low vibration energy, has disrupted their lives. Remember what I talked about? Low vibration energy creates more what? Low vibration energy. And that continues. And it doesn't go away unless you know how to release it and to start the process of processing, releasing your low vibration energy and moving into high. So I do a lot of work with these people, and I do a lot of service work in the addiction community, and I'm proud to say that we've done some really good things. And this work gets results. So I want to mention that to you. The next way to dealing with stress, people act out. If they get stressed enough, they blow up or start shooting people or do negative things. That's the way we were taught to deal with stress. What are our role models? Now, a lot of people say, oh, well, I meditate. Great. Meditation is a great thing. However, one of the things that I want to mention to you is I have a lot of clients who come to me who've been meditating 20, 30 years who are still stressed out. Think about that. You meditate every day, 20 years, and you still got stress? Why is that? Because what did I just say? The low vibration energy that we go through, whether it's daily or operational means we're dealing with it on an ongoing basis, or the stuff that we've been through from our past. That's an energy that's embedded in our energetic bodies inside us, and what Eckhart Tolle calls the pain body, and it never goes away unless you know how to get it out. You can't read a book and get it out. You can't chant and get it out. You can't walk on hot coals and get it out. All that stuff is for your 10%. In energy awareness training, we recognize the energy and we move it out. When we move it out, it's like, man, people have a new life. That's one of the things I love doing this work. In a short amount of time, people who are suffering don't suffer anymore. People who have been in emotional pain, or energetic pain for years, it goes away. It gets dissolved because I take it out, because nothing changes until energy moves, and we move it out. And then we're moving into high vibrational energy. So there's a lot I could go through, on this, because I love this subject, and it's pretty much life. Whatever we want to do with life is energy. If you understand how energy works, and your energetic laws, and you're doing regular exercises and consciousness awareness techniques to move out your low vibration energy and move into high, you're going to start moving up. You're going to start healing yourself. Okay, just to know this without taking any action, it's just information. It's like reading the sports section yesterday, because remember, the low vibration energy doesn't want you to heal. That there's a part of you that doesn't want you to heal. It doesn't want you to move forward. It doesn't want you to escape your past. It wants you to stay stuck. And if you don't know it's there, then it's going to be operating under the surface. And that's the human condition. That's why people are so frustrated and unhappy and living lives of quiet desperation, because they know there's something or some process that's holding them down from being who they can be. And tonight we talked about it in the teleseries that we're going to do. We're going to go into this step by step. You're going to learn about your own energy. You're going to be completely educated about how the energetic worlds work. You're going to be taught how to see invisible energy and to be able to spot a high vibration or a low vibration. You're going to learn how to especially identify high vibration and low vibration energy women. And if there's one skill all you guys need to learn for your own happiness and long-term well-being, is to be able to know if a girl's good for you or if a girl's not good for you. And if you get suckered into what she looks like, you could get some short-term pleasure and long-term pain. So the point is, in the work, like what Owen said before, we want you to have all the goodies and all the things that your heart desires, but have them in the right way. Have them in a high vibrational energy way so that they last. You want a girl and you want a great relationship, good. Find the one that's going to last. Find one that's going to love you and be truthful to you and be honest with you. Don't pick one that's going to rock your world for 3 weeks and then cheat on you or steal your wallet, so to speak. It's the same thing with all of this. I'll just leave it with this. Energetic awareness is being able to see and interact with a whole nother level of life. And this is where life takes place, in the energetic levels. And it doesn't matter, whatever it is, from A to Z, you have to deal with the energetic worlds. And in this work, this is what we do. So we're going to take 6 weeks. We're going to go over this work. I'm going to be giving you, the kind of training that people come to see me and pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars, per hour to come see me to. We're going to do it with you guys because Owen asked me to, and he's a good guy and he's a good friend. And he's a good teacher. So he wants to make this available for you guys. Now, we have one other premium package, and that is for you guys, all around the world who want to be able to have a session, be able to see me personally. We've added a premium package of 3 sessions to be able to have a one-on-one with me on Skype, or if you're in the Southern California area, you can come by my office. And I'll work with you specifically on what you've learned in the sessions. So everybody's got a different situation and different things going on, but the purpose of the premium package is for me to be able to take what you've learned and tune it up to whatever you're dealing with. Some people have health issues. It's their low vibration energy. Some people have relationship issues. Some people have self-esteem issues. Some people have business issues. Doesn't matter what it is. What we do in the premium package is the ability for you to be able to, for me to help you tweak that so that you can get in full alignment. And that's my goal for you in the 6 weeks and in the premium package, for you to become energetically aware, for you to see, feel, and travel in another dimension of life that holds the key to having all the things that you want to have. Because if you think about it, no matter whether it's the girl or the money or the house or whatever it is, behind the physical thing is the energy. It's the feeling that you have when you think that this one thing will make you happy. And so many people come to see me. Boy, it's like sometimes it's like the pages of People magazine in here of well-known, actresses and celebrities. And you think, oh my God, they got everything. They've got the celebrity, they've got the millions, they've got the awards, and they're still not happy. Why? Because they don't understand the energies that are moving inside them. And it doesn't matter what you have or what you don't have. If you're not aware of how the energies are working, especially that low vibration energy that wants to sabotage you and take you out, there's no amount of money or no amount of power or women that are going to make you happy. So it's all energetic. Okay, so that's the program. Love to work with you guys. We're going to have Owen on a couple of these calls, and we're going to rock it and take you guys to another realm of awareness and understanding. So let me just check the box here. I'll take a few minutes and answer some questions. And then, did you want to tweak the Michaela? Did you want to tweak the button?
No, it should be good. Are you guys able to click the little button and see Glenn's coaching, guys? Yeah, you can do a Q&A. That's good. Can you see that?
I can. All right, take a few questions about what we're doing. Things moving 100 miles an hour here. It's a good technique. How do I apply the knowledge? How do I apply this knowledge practically? So here's the thing, guys. On the, on this webinar, my intention is to give you kind of an awareness of the subject of what energy awareness training is, to let you know, to have you be aware, to expand your horizons, to look at things in a different way, to be able to notice your own energies inside you, and that there's hope to be able to do something about it. It would take me, that's why we decided the course. Yeah, what are the methods? There's a lot of methods for me to show you on what to do and how to do that. And that's what we're doing the course on. So if this resonates with you, then sign up for the course, and I'll show you all the methods that I'm teaching Owen and the RST gang to do that. Okay, a couple more questions here. Started with the laws. Great, energetic laws. Okay, so the laws I want you to remember for tonight is we live in an energetic world. When you walk outside the door and you start to see things as an energy, your awareness and consciousness will expand. When you get that we live in the world of duality, so that everything has an opposite to it. And that, I just mentioned a couple of minutes ago about, the Hollywood people who come in here who have everything. What they don't realize is that in this physical world, we're under the law of duality. So what goes up must come what? What comes in will go what? Out. What goes left goes right. So it's so important to understand that opportunity and energy is a moving target. And if you're not aware of that, you think everything stays the same, and it doesn't. You think the girl's going to be with you forever, or you think the job's going to last forever, or health, or etc. And conditions, since they're energetic and energy is always moving, have to be dealt with on a moment by moment basis. That's why it's so important to be energetically present and aware right now. See, the low vibration energy wants to get in your head and take you to the past when things were better, or maybe remind you what somebody did to you, or if you go through a heartbreak, torment you on the great moment you had with this girl that it's gone. Why? So that it can bring you down. Or the low vibration energy can take you out into the future and torment you with, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if you deal with this? What if you have to go with that? So in other words, in this energy frequency, it's tormenting you. It's affecting you in a negative way. Now, if you don't understand that energy, that you're getting played by energy, you'll think that its thoughts are your thoughts. So let me give you one really important piece. And that is, you can't believe everything that you think. You can't believe everything that you think. Why? Because this energy has license to hack into your thoughts. What? Hack into your thoughts? Yeah. Have you ever had whacked out thoughts? I tell the story of I'm from San Francisco, and one day, I was driving across the Golden Gate Bridge, as happy as can be. And that day on the bridge, the only thing that was separating the ongoing lanes were these plastic cones. And I'm driving along, and all of a sudden this thought comes in my head that says, why don't you drive into the opposite, onto the ongoing traffic, and see what happens? What? Drive into the ongoing traffic? That's certain suicide. That's not my thought. I wouldn't constantly choose to think that. Where did that thought come from? So then I began to realize, if that's not my thought, and I have a thought that would want to destroy me or cause me harm, what other thoughts are going through my head? How about thoughts of you don't deserve it, you're not worthy, you're not good enough for her? Or you remember what somebody said, you're never going to be successful, you're stuck, you're too short, you're too tall, you're too fat, you're too skinny. All of those, what I call self-attack thoughts, we all have them. And if you don't recognize that those are not your thoughts, those are not sourced by who you really are, you'll think that those thoughts are your thoughts. And then you'll allow that energy to pull you into low vibration energy. So part of, again, the training is to be energetically aware, to understand where are these energies coming from. You know, it's like if I was in a foreign, let's say I was in a war zone. Okay, if I'm in a war zone, I want to be alert. If there's possible harm that can come to me, I want to be alert and aware. Or if I'm in the ghetto, 2 o'clock in the morning, hey, I'm going to be alert and aware. If I'm not, the low vibration energy or harm could get to me. Now, the terms aren't important, you guys. So don't get caught up in the terms. Some people go low vibration, high vibration. Doesn't matter. All I want you to be aware of is that there are energies, unseen energies that are affecting you every day. If you're aware of them, you can do something about it. If you're not aware of it, they will control you. Okay, a couple more questions. One thing for your time. Okay, you're welcome, James. James, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. What would you do to the college student who wants to work on energy awareness but may not have the money to spend? Sign up in the page, and RSD will work something out with you. Okay, they'll work out on a payment plan. Okay, my goal is to have all of you guys do this. For some guys, it's a piece of cake. For other guys, if you need a payment plan, Mike, do you want to talk about that?
How about email support@realsocialdynamics.com, and Stuart will reach out to help them out.
Okay, email support@realsocialdynamics.com, and we'll help you out. So find a way. Here's the thing. Energetic aware, high vibration energy always finds a way. And I love working with my advanced students once they get out of the low vibration energy, because you find a way to do stuff. If you've got a high intention, I have a formula that I teach people how to create stuff. We're natural manifestors, and we're meant to create the things that we want in life. Whether it's the woman or the money or the situation, that's who we are in a high vibrational energy. We're creative beings. Now, the only thing that keeps us from doing that is the low vibration energy that says we're not that, or you don't deserve it, or all the baloney that tries to block us from coming there. But I just want to tell you, if you learn one thing from me, my message to you is you're an unlimited being. You're an unlimited energetic being. You have so much potential to be what you want to be, to do what you want to do. And all of us in our hearts have a vision of who we want to be and what we want to do. And then we look at our circumstances, and we're here, and we want to be here. The way to get from here to here, it's not dealing with the circumstances. It's dealing with the energy. You deal with the energy, you can move mountains. And in fact, what you really realize when you become energetically aware is that mountain is just an illusion. And you can go either over it, through it, or a lot of times it's not even there. So I just want to encourage you guys to keep that vision and keep that dream of who you want to be and what you want to do. Because all of us at RSD, we've been there before, and we've worked on ourselves, especially the Owen and the top instructors. They've had their own battles that they're dealing with. And now they're coming back to help you in all the different areas. And in this area has proved to be so important with RSD. That's why I'm working with a lot of the instructors. And, with Owen Tyler himself, because there's value here and there's change. And that's, you guys, that's what we want. We want to change our lives, and we want lives of high vibrational energy. Okay. Okay. A couple more questions, and then I'll. So any questions that you have, about money or about if you have anything, it's support@realsocialdynamics.com. Okay. Yeah, it is the Matrix. Absolutely. Okay. Massive value, Glenn. Thank you for your time. Yeah. Okay. Are you going to offer it again? I don't know. So I don't know if I'm going to offer it again. We'll see how we'll see how this works. I'm doing this, as a favor for Owen and the RSD guys, because I love them and they're my friends, and I want to help you guys. So I'm offering it to you. We're doing it now. Remember this: the low vibration energy always wants you to procrastinate. How many times? Here's an example. You see a girl. You want to open her. You want to approach her and open up a conversation. And what does that voice in your head say? Not now. Let's do it later. Or I'm not ready yet. Or whatever. Okay, that's a low vibration energy. The high vibration energy is being able to be free, to be able to approach or not approach, but not because you're afraid. So you guys, all we have is this moment. So if you want to move forward, if you want to move up, if you want to transform yourself, if you want to move into high vibrational energy, then this is the time to do it. Do what it takes to do it. All of you guys, if I sat down with you, you could find a way to do it. Put together some bucks. Okay. If you're in college, go tutor someone or wash a couple cars. Do whatever you need to do to make it happen, because you know what? Opportunity is a moving target. And I don't know how long, this is going to be available to you guys. So appreciate what Owen has opened up for you, and both Papa and Tyler, to make this available to you. And I'd love to work with you and love to teach you and have you move forward. I think that's going to wrap us up here. If you have, great, go ahead.
Mind if I grab?
Go ahead.
Grab these.
Here's Mikhail.
What's up, guys? What is up, guys? So I don't know if you guys know me. I am Mikhail. I work with Owen actually on copy. I'm his top marketing guy. So one thing I wanted to do really quickly is touch on how does this energy stuff really connect with pickup specifically, because a lot of you guys are probably having that question in the back of your minds of how does this really relate? When I'm out in the field, when I'm going up to a girl, what is the specific energy concepts that I'm looking at? What are the things that play at the time? So here's kind of what's interesting, right? So energy surrounds everything. The universe is made up of energy. We know that. Glenn has mentioned that already. Now, here's what's cool is because the Earth is a part of that energetic field. So you have the sun, that's basically a giant ball of fire, and the Earth is around that. All of that energy is encapsulated around the Earth. Now that permutates down, right? So you have, you have cities, you have, towns, and then whatever situation you're in, let's say you're in a bar, let's say you're out on the street, the energy of the universe is actually encapsulated there. So how does this apply on a practical level? Well, when you're approaching a woman energetically, every interaction is an exchange of energy. All right. So when you are exchanging energy, if you think about it, it's like it's like an aquifer. I don't know if you guys know, how an aquifer works, or let's say a dam where you have a balancing act, right? Or let's say, the canal where you actually have to fill the water up so that the boat can get all the way through. Well, when you have a particular female that you're talking to or approaching, her energy level is in a certain state. Now, we talk a lot about state, but what's interesting is we assume state to be this thing. State is actually something that's very difficult often to explain, to quantify, and to figure out how it actually works. But on an energetic level, when you really look at it, it's actually very interesting to describe state, because you will realize that when you're out, you're in one of two states, okay? One is what I call red state. Red state is you got really pumped to go out, you're pumped, you're amped, and you're going out, and no matter what, you're going to do something. You're gonna blaze through stuff, all right? You're gonna go through, and I don't know if you guys have seen Owen's video where he talks about short-term and long-term mating strategies, but you're in what's called short-term mating strategy mode. All right, I see you guys commenting. I'm loving that you guys are loving this stuff too. It's great. What happens is you're in low-term, short-term strategy mode. You're pumping red energy out. You're passionate. You're excited. All right, that's what happens when you go out. So what will happen is, as you're in this red state, okay, you're channeling red current. You will bump into women that are also out. They're also in the same state, right? Girls will pregame, and they'll be out with their girls, and they'll be amped up on this, this red pulse wave. So what will happen there is, yeah, RSD McHale, that's right. And so you'll actually line up with their red state. So if they're in positive energy and they're pumping, and then you'll actually align and you'll be in parallel, right? We talk about, walk with the girl. If it's day game, walk with her so that you're on parallel. So if you're pumping red and you're excited, then she's going to be excited at the same time. And the women that are out and they're in red state, you're going to instantly gravitate towards them. So energetically, let's say you show up to a venue and you're really pumped up, all right? The first thing you can do is try and find females in that space that are in the same state, all right? Because what will happen is you'll automatically synchronize to their wavelength, and it's instant rapport, and then you can transition to escalation much, much quicker, all right? The other thing that happens if you're in red state, you'll find women that are in what I call blue state. And what that is, maybe the girl is out by herself. Maybe she's a little more, introverted. Maybe she's shyer. Maybe she's not quite in the mood to party because she has work the next day. Okay, that's possible. There's a lot of women that you'll see out in the club that are actually just sitting back, and maybe their friends got the VIP table. They're out there for the group, but they're not necessarily looking to get really amped up, get really drunk, and make some bad decisions. All right. So what happens is if you come into this red state and you come up on this girl, maybe you really like this girl. Maybe you see her and you go, wow, I actually like how intellectual she is, how I can tell the process going on in the back of her mind. And I like that. I happen to be in this really red state. So you're not going to be able to synchronize with that wavelength because you are too amped up. You're really high energy. She's really low energy. But your awareness should be in the following position. What you have to realize is she's in low state, and everyone around her probably in that club environment is in red state. So what you actually do is you don't just match her energy. You give her your red energy to bring her up. So because you're so amped up, when she's sitting there, she might be just checking her, her Instagram. She knows she has to be up at, 8 in the morning to do work, and that's fine. But what you're doing her a favor. You're connecting her to the environment that she's in by actually taking your red energy and pumping it into her. So you're creating that instant state. You're lifting her energy up. And what happens is now she realizes, whoa, she has an emotional response to that because she feels that. All of a sudden, she has a response. She goes, whoa, somehow I'm more connected to my environment. Somehow this person that suddenly came into my environment is making me feel like a bigger, better part of the world that I'm in. And I might not have been very engaged in this club up until now, but all of a sudden I'm really engaged. She'll notice that. So what will happen is you're taking that surplus of your red energy and you're pumping that into her to bring her up. And what will happen is you'll instantly create rapport with her. And, obviously you can escalate if you want to do that. You might even be able to pull that girl that night. Honestly, I've done that where then I have to drive them home at 7:30 the next morning because they have work. Like I've done that tons of times. So that's one aspect, right? You get really pumped up, you channel red energy, and you either align with women that are on the same wavelength, or you pump that energy to bring her up to your state. Now, what's going to happen with a lot of you guys is the opposite. And this is something that's very, very common, is you're actually not in red state. You're in what's called blue state. Blue state it comes from your third eye. right? And that's clarity of thought. That's intellect. And there's this idea of being stuck in your head. What's happening there on an energetic level is your blue level is super, super high, but your red level is really low. And it's actually really hard to go out in that mode, because what happens is everyone else is in this really high red state. Everyone's pumping all this passion, everyone's excited, and you're feeling like, I'm just not that excited to be here. I really want to break through this. I really want to get this solved. I really feel like I should be able to do this, but somehow I'm just not quite able to take that energy that's blue and transition it maybe in the middle or pump it to red. And what happens is, because rarely will you find a girl that's going to grab you, right? Because women are trained to be more passive than we are. Very rarely will you find a girl that's very, 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 very high energy that's going to bring you up. Because for them, it's a lot easier to just find the other guy that's there that's going to match her energy. It's easier for them because it's that environment. So what do you do in that situation? And this is a position that I've been in, hundreds of times. Every instructor's been in this position. You guys have all been in this position, I am sure. And what's happening is you need to take that blue energy. You actually need to find the depth and the value in the energy that you have. Because as you're standing there at the bar, what's happening is you have a much deeper sense of what's actually happening. You have a heightened state of awareness. Because, as I mentioned, that video, short-term versus long-term mating strategies, you're actually subconsciously in long-term mating strategy at that point. And what needs to happen is you need to find people. So the first technique is step ladder, okay? Find one person that is kind of near where you are, but is having a little bit more fun, okay? So find someone who you can tell is kind of having fun, but they're kind of pulling back, kind of having fun, kind of pushing back. And then what you actually want to do is you want to take that person, you want to push them past their little wall, right? It's like they're coming up to the wall, they're looking at the wall, they're going, all the fun's over here, but I know there's somehow a wall here, and they're walking back, okay? What you do is you take them and you go, dude, I'm going to smash this wall for you, okay? Because now you actually have someone who is there to kind of support you in that process. You're almost using them as like a little stunt dummy to kind of push your energy up. And what happens is you guys raise your energy up. So what happened is that you're here, this guy was kind of over here, and now you've taken him here, and now you guys are both here. So that's kind of cool, because now what will happen is it will spiral. Owen talks about this idea of an upward spiral, okay? What you want to do is you want to find little things throughout your night that's going to create that upward spiral for you. Don't worry about the fact that you might be there and some other guy's having so much fun and he's like wasted making out with 5 chicks, and you're like, how does that guy do that, right? What is stopping me from being that guy? What is stopping me from doing that? Don't worry about that. Let that go. Find the happiness in your moment. Find the center in your moment. Find ways to take that blue energy, that clarity of thought, and actually use it to your advantage. Because one thing you'll be able to do is, as you're developing, as you're coming in with this state, what you actually notice is you're actually able to almost mind read what's going on in people's minds. Because oftentimes when you're doing this, you're gaming sober. Everyone else is drunk, you're gaming sober, right? So, and it can be intimidating. I know a lot of guys probably use alcohol. I started, back when I started game, I started using alcohol, and then I realized, wow, okay, it helps, but it's like what Glenn talks about, it's a credit card. You'll use it, but then you have to pay the bill at the end of the day. So rather than doing that, what you can actually do is come in with that blue energy and use those mind reading powers and say, wow, I'm really aware that this girl here, she might be really up, but you can tell that there's something in her mannerisms that makes her feel like she's not quite appreciated. And because you were in that blue state, you had that heightened sense of awareness, you were able to catch on to that. And so because of that, you're able to kind of go in and you're able to go into that interaction, match her energy, kind of ramp it up, and then use that as a way to build really fast rapport and actually separate yourself out from the other guys that are in that venue, because everyone's pumping really high energy. And if you're over here, well, guess what? That makes you stand out. You end up being, 1 out of the 50, let's say 1 out of the 20, whatever it is, guys that are kind of in that headspace. So rather than seeing that as a negative, see it as a positive. See it as a way to bring clarity to the situation. See it as a way for her to really connect with you at the higher level. So I just wanted to kind of jump in for a minute because I think this energy stuff, I think it's actually amazing. Once you're able to tune in to what's going on and you're actually able to rebalance people's energies, because you can use your energy to rebalance people's energies. Like you could take that blue energy, you could actually take that girl and you can actually bring her down a little bit. You can actually make her say, well, wait, why are you here? Why are you here on this earth? Because I know you're having fun, but why are you really here? And she's either gonna go, whoa, that's way too crazy. Or she's gonna go, wait a minute, this guy is different. Every guy just wants to know what I do and what my name is. But this is something really different. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Wanted to jump in. If you guys want to get Glenn's coaching, get it. I think it's awesome. Email support. I don't know if you can have purple energy, but Glenn talks about a lot of this stuff and it's really phenomenal. So one thing I'd like you guys to do is I am going to send an email out to all you guys about how you like this conference, the things you liked, the things you didn't like. We really want your feedback. As you guys notice, this hot seat at home thing is different. It's different from everything RSD's ever done, because one of the things we really want to do is create a new way for you guys to absorb this information, right? So, these missions that you guys are doing, right? This is a new way to learn, because it's not just information anymore. You're taking these things, you're actually having to go out and piece yourself into the world and connect with it. So for us, it's really, really important that you guys get value out of this. That's why we're adding infield to the missions. You guys wanted infield, we're getting you guys infield. Don't worry, it's coming. All right. But anything else, we'll send you guys an email. Let us know. We want to know what we did right. We want to know what we did wrong so we can improve, because we really do this for you guys. And I see your comment, Johnny. I work with Owen on the marketing. I will talk to him, see if I can do some hot seats for you guys at some point in the future. But for now, I'm kind of like the guy that makes sure that you guys are taken care of. So I want to thank you guys so much for being on this conference. And it's been a blast having you guys. And we'll fire off an email. Let us know what you guys thought. And any other questions you might have for Glenn, we'll see if he can answer that. All right. Thanks, guys.